So this is a big improvement already. As long as you're using the same browser, you'll get the same notes back every time. Local storage, by the way, is scoped to domain. So other sites won't be able to get to the local storage that you from a different website. But if you switch machines, if you clear your local data from your browser or anything like that, all your notes are going to go away. So it'd be really cool if they were actually stored somewhere in the cloud. Enter Firebase. So Firebase is a whole mess of services. One of which, if you look at this enormous list of things, is real-time database, which is kind of what it was originally. And the real-time database is really cool. Store and sync app data in milliseconds. It happens just as fast as you can type, pretty much. Authentication. You can add authentication to your app super, super easily. So those both seem like things that could be really useful to us. So let's try to get started with this. I'm already signed in. What if I weren't? I'm signed in as that rascal. That's fine. So if you haven't signed up, sign up with your Google account. I have some from previous years. And let's add a new one. Hopefully I still have enough on my free account. Add a project. Project name. Oh, Notes 18S1 morning, I'll call it. You probably don't have to be that specific because you don't create note herder like 6 times a year. Use the default settings for sharing Google Analytics. I don't necessarily need to share my data about this, but thanks for asking. I agree that I'm using Firebase services in my app, and I agree to the applicable terms. I suppose I don't have much choice. All right. Continue. This is all new since the last time I did this. Customized data sharing. How about we don't share any of it? Very good. Create project. New project is ready. Continue. All right, get started here. Add Firebase to your iOS app, add Firebase to your Android app, add Firebase to your web app. Hey, we're making a web app. Add Firebase to your web app. Okay, copy and paste that. Yeah, that's all fine, but we're doing a whole React thing. I don't want to just put more script tags in my actual HTML. I want to put this JavaScript somewhere else. That seems like there's a better way for us. So since we're using React, we have our dependencies in package JSON and everything. So instead of like including Firebase from this CDN, we'll actually install it locally using Yarn. And I already told you that we're going to use Rebase ultimately. So Rebase is this handy-dandy package for syncing state with React. And Firebase, naturally, is a dependency of Rebase. So if we add Rebase to our project, we're going to add Firebase to our project too. So let's see about that. Let's do yarn add Rebase, and keep in mind there's a dash in there. Re-base. Yarn add Rebase. And we know that that does 2 things. It actually installs Rebase in your node modules, and it adds it to package.json. Both parts are important.
What exactly is Rebase?
Rebase is a package that is specifically designed to make it super easy to sync React state with the Firebase real-time database. So you can do all that using just the Firebase package, which is fine too. Rebase makes it so easy that it's not even fair. So we're going to use it. And since I happen to know that Firebase is a dependency of that, I know installing Rebase is going to get us that. So you could have just done yarn add Firebase for now. But let's see what happens when we finish this. So it does take a little while to build, or like a long time to build, looks like. But notice here, okay, cool. It's telling us everything we added here. And yeah, Firebase is in there. So there it is. So Firebase definitely got installed. But you could just yarn add Firebase if you wanted to. Package.json now lists Rebase. So that eliminates our need to put in this script. We don't need to load Firebase that way. We've got it in our thing. So to initialize Firebase, I do something like this. And of course, for you, it's going to be different, right? Because all these URLs and everything are going to be different from you. So I'm just going to start by copying all this stuff, not the script tag, just this much. And I'm going to make a new file in my source directory. I want all my JavaScript to be here. I don't want to put any of it in the HTML. So I'm not going to put this in a component. This is a configuration thing. I want it to run, but I don't. This isn't going to happen inside a component. So I'm going to make a new file inside the source directory, and I'm going to call it lowercase b base.js. I'm not capitalizing it because it's not a component. And this is just where I'm going to do my Firebase configuration. So let's start by pasting all that in here. First of all, they're using var. We don't do that. Const. I'm not using these, but that's fine. So we've got a little error here. Firebase, not defined. How do you think we fix that? Import. Import Firebase from Firebase. It went away. Seems legit. So Firebase actually has a ton of packages in it. This is actually Firebase/app that we want, or that I think I want. So here's my config, Firebase initialize app. I'm going to need to refer to this app later, so I actually need to say const app equals Firebase initialize app config. Because for Rebase, we're going to have to use the Firebase app that we initialize here. All right, so that's a start. We've got a Firebase app now. We've got some configuration in here. Okay. Now what? Let's look at our left thing here. We've got develop. That's what we're doing. Database. That's the thing we're most interested in. So Cloud Firestore beta. Next generation of the real-time database with more powerful queries and automatic scaling. It is a beta. So I think we're not going to use that just yet. Let's go for the real-time database. Since it is just a beta, this probably isn't going to be deprecated anytime soon. They're probably not going to deprecate it in the middle of class like they did 2 years ago. So get started. Yes, have it in the middle of class. It stopped working.
Like in the middle of class?
Like overnight. Yeah. Yeah. Came in the next day, nothing worked. Yeah, it was great. Real cool. So we had to figure out the new API on the fly. Which, hey, there's some benefit in like watching an experienced person figure out how an API they've never used works. But not necessarily the best use of your time. Okay, start in lock mode or start in test mode. So Once you've defined your data structure, you'll have to write rules to secure your data. Start in locked mode, which used to just be the default. It didn't used to ask you. Would deny all reads and writes. So no one could write to your database until you change your rules manually. Or you could start in test mode, which allows all reading and writing. So it's completely insecure as long as people can connect to it. Now, other people aren't going to be able to connect to your database without your information. But this way, no one can read or write anything. So let's start in test mode. It's fine. It's not production data. Who cares if someone else can read it for right now? So we'll start in test mode, and it will just have totally open permissions to start with. And until you fix that, you'll have a big red warning here, or you can dismiss it. But it's kind of nice to be reminded, yeah, sooner or later we need to come back here and fix our access rules. But we don't have any users yet anyway, so there's no, we couldn't possibly write rules. All right, so now we have a real-time database. And we said we were going to use Rebase to sync with this thing. Since we've got Firebase configured, I'm going to go ahead and start a new video before we dive into Rebase in any more detail.